how big is Cutchogue? I mean, come on. During the winter, we might have 2,500 or 3,000 families live here or something like that. We have 2 Roman Catholic churches. And growing up, it was the Polish church and it was the Irish church. And of course, being Polish, I was just always here. And this was like a second home, clearly. I did not set foot into the Irish church until I was in my 40s. And it was for a funeral of a close friend. I mean, it was just because you just did not go. This was the regional church. It didn't have boundaries as most churches do. It's a regional. If you're Polish, you basically come here. We did things here. It was a community here. It just wasn't church. Yes, I had the sacraments here. But it was also CYO sports, Catholic Youth Organization sports. You know, it was also dances down in the basement.
I can't recall who the pastor was, but we had an assistant by the name of Father Charles. He was very tall. Right. And he organized the CYO basketball.
Right.
We had more altar boys than we didn't know what to do with. They were fighting to serve Mass.
Really?
But when he was transferred, I think he went up to Rocky Point, everything just went down the hill. Nobody showed any more interest. He really had the boys involved. When Father Swalina became pastor here, we had a meeting with him, and he said, I'd like to raise some money. What can we do to raise money for the parish? So we decided to have a dance. We hired bands from Connecticut. We had a dance floor where we borrowed from the Marituck Fire Department. A tent was put up. We had, fellow had some ponies, Ostrabrama and Greenport had a couple of ponies. We had rides for the kids. We had potato sack races. And the dance was a good success. But after we had it about maybe 5 or 6 years, Father Swalina found a young couple doing what they were supposed to be doing. He says, that's it. No more dances, that's the end.
Dancing is bad.
But one thing with Monsignor Swalina that was here, he would talk to the kids, and he would talk to you and make the homily make sense. And I think that's one of the most important aspects, that you could understand it. He didn't talk down to you, he taught at your level, because the 10 o'clock Mass used to be the kids' Mass. And so he had the kids would collect, and sometimes the kids would even read.
I remember when Father Krupski came also, this all started with the pastoral formation program, which was a new thing. And I guess I was in the group that was the first group that took the courses. I guess it was a blessing for me and all the group that went. I went through the 2-year program and then also continued on to the 3-year program for the youth, family and youth ministry to get the certification. But if it wasn't for, like I said, Father Krupski was a really strong influence to me, and I was allowed to take part in these things, which I never thought for myself. It was like, I was always sort of nudged by him, and I'm thankful that he did nudge me, because it was a rewarding experience, and also it helped me carry on to journeys like to St. Gabriel's, where I did retreats for many years, 10 years or more.
I have good memories as being an altar boy for many years as a kid. It was an honor, and I was very proud to be one. I enjoyed it. And Father Spavioni was very generous with us altar boys. I can remember him on Christmas time, he'd always give us a big bag of hard candy. We always look forward for that. I remember getting up early in the morning, my mother would make my breakfast for me. Then I'd get on my bicycle, come serve the Mass, you know. I wouldn't be, like, for weeks, sometimes we alternate. I would have a week, then another altar boy would have another week. And sometimes I have more than one more week. Somebody can't make it. I love serving, so I used to come anyway. I enjoyed it. Father was very generous with his kids, you know. He made sure everybody was equal. And we had a lot of altar boys, quite a few altar boys. It seemed like the altar was always crowded with altar boys, you know.
Did you serve as an altar boy here at church? Or?
I started as an altar boy, but the Latin was too much for me. I couldn't grasp it, so I quit.
We had this card, we had to read Latin in order to go ahead and have these opening prayers. And I just remember that it was difficult to say, like Mr. Zuhoski said earlier, and I would just sort of mumble the words. But fortunately, there was 4 of us, so it would be easier to go ahead and get through that process. But being an altar server, it was really like an honor.
Around the year 1936, myself and my classmates received religious instructions on Saturday all day. We were taught by Polish nuns. The nuns came from Brooklyn on the train on Friday. They stayed at the rectory. They returned to Brooklyn Saturday afternoon. And this is the whole class that received the first Holy Communion. Not the altar boys, they just served.
And for you, Pat? And for me, it was also a Holy Communion receiving. I remember it was Father Al at that time. And it's quite a while back, but that's where, I remember that because it was a special occasion for me and I was excited. Those little white dress and the veil and all my, friends, and also my cousin was at that time being confirmed. So it was really nice, and it continued from there.
Okay, I never forget on my first Holy Communion. That was a great thing too. That was something I looked forward to it, because after the first Holy Communion, it was very exciting because Father Zbogoni had a big party in his rectory for the kids. They had all kind of food to eat, ice cream, cakes, so everybody enjoyed that, Just nobody wanted to go home, everybody would stay till the last minute.
I can remember making my first communion. Father Zbogoni was the pastor, and we had a photo taken in the back of the church. Our class consisted, I say, between 40 and 50 children. It was a big class. And it was strictly Polish. There was no English speaking.
Another thing about Father Zbogoni I have to mention, he asked me one time if I wanted to rake some leaves at the rectory day. I said, sure, I'll do that. I'd come down and rake the leaves for him, Then the cook would come out and she says to you, Frank, are you hungry? I says, yes, I'm very hungry. But I had my jelly and peanut butter sandwich with milk. I can't use that. So she says, come on in. She gave me a bowl of lamb soup, which I loved. She had a pot just left for Father Zbogoni. I know she did. So I ate that soup. I'm looking around. She said, do you want more? I said, yeah. So I'm eating the second helping, still looking around. I'm really hungry. Do you want more? I said, yeah. So she says to Father Zbogoni, he says, let him have it. I ate the whole pot. She had a pot. Yeah. I was really hungry. So she says, the cook says to my mother, my God, that kid can really eat. So my mother says, how come you eat so much? I said, I was really hungry, and I love lamb soup, which I loved to eat. She said, would you eat your jelly peanut butter sandwich? I said, no. I left it behind.
I found this picture. It's 1989, and the heading is Outdoor Bake Sale. And on the picture, we have Bertha Slajewski. Do you remember her?
Yes.
She's here. Myself and Alice Malinauskas. And the woman purchasing a cake says Gertrude Schuyler. The Sacred Heart Rosary Societies for many years had and still have bake sales each year on Saturday and Sunday. Proceeds from the sales were and are used to take care of all needs for the altar. Well, my mother got married in 1929, and I think she came over from Poland, I think in 1925. And then she got married in 1929. Wow. And she lived in Manitowoc ever since she got married all her life. She was married in Our Lady of Poland Church because her aunt and her family lived in Bridgehampton, Sacaponic, and Southampton. And my aunt is the one that brought her over from Poland. And I would like to mention that my aunt brought 62 people here from Poland on her lifetime.
Well, we even had a taste of it. You must have, where you grew up, and so had I, carrying pipe and all that. Oh, jeez. Leaving shoes behind in the mud. And I had my shoe. Don't worry about it. We'll find it when we dig up the potatoes in the fall. And sure enough, there comes that shoe up the combine. The experiences. But my father always wanted boys before girls because, you know, put them to work on the farm. Well, he got the first boy, and then after that it was 3 girls, and he's going, oh. So he put us to work anyway. And then the 2 boys later on, and when he got older, they were lucky because they didn't have to farm as much because he was getting older and near retirement, so. I remember those days.
My mom and dad were married here. My mom is a Krupski, and prior to being married, my dad was a Stype, and he changed his name to Stype, which is apparently what people oftentimes did in those days. Babci it was clearly a matriarchal family. She put the foot down. And she was the one who said, we will be there, all of us, all 5 of their sons and their daughter and their families. You will be at Babci and Jaji's house Christmas Eve and Easter. And it was joyous. It was just wonderful.
I can also add that the Polish families, my grandmother was the boss, and my grandpapa had nothing to say. She ruled the roost.
That's true. Same thing with my father's mother. Yeah, I remember that.
She
held her ground.
Decisions.
She held her ground on me too. I was kind of leery of her.
There were 2 spheres that I was raised in. One was the family, the Krupski clan, and the other was the church. And oftentimes you didn't know where one left off and one ended or started, but it was like very, very similar. This building to me is more than just a building. It's more than just a church. It is a part of who I am.